Hello, Nick.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fabulous. How are you doing today?
Great, I love your hat.
Thank you so much. Thank you very
Yeah.
much.
Cool.
Thanks for taking the time, man. I know you're a busy guy, so if you don't mind, I'll just jump right into a couple of hot questions for you.
Yeah, sure, Jimmy.
All right. First, before we get too deep into Batwoman, I'd like to ask about the movie that you co-produced, Balcony in Brooklyn.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
can you tell me about how that came about?
Sure, yeah. I was at home actually in the middle of COVID. I was with my roommate Glad, and he's a filmmaker and producer as well. And we got a call from our friend Dennis, who actually wrote Balcony in Brooklyn, and he said, "Hey guys, I need you to check out this movie, Clapping for the Wrong Reasons. I just saw it. Donald Glover made it a few years ago. I think it's an awesome short film." So we checked it out and we just loved what Donald was able to do with like the dream sequence where you weren't sure if it was reality or if it was a dream because it came to remind me of like Groundhog's Day where everything repeated itself the next day. So we thought it would be awesome to kind of do an ode to that through the lens of quarantine and like what would happen if COVID was still in existence in 2025, which it very much
Don't jinx
might
it.
be. Yeah. Yeah, we decided to just uh co-produce that film together in the lens of COVID not ever ending. And being that I just moved in with Glad, we thought it would be cool if we did it kind of from a roommate perspective of him and myself, where my character Nick was moving into this new apartment. He's trying his best to stay on this strict path of feeling like, okay, if I follow the rules, COVID will eventually be over. And his roommate Glad, who we just moved in with, was pretty much like, fuck the rules. We need to make our own rules because we've been doing this for 5 years and it's still happening. And then obviously there were elements of racial injustice, et cetera, like weaved in with a little bit of comedy. So yeah, that was how we came up with A Balcony in Brooklyn. We love it. That's one of my favorite projects I've done actually.
Yeah, was that with your production company, Broken Whip?
That was actually before I decided to co-create Broken Whip with my other two buddies, Kwame Onwuachi, who's a chef, and Nana Kwame Adjei Brenyah, who is a New York Times bestselling author. Broken Whip was ideated after that. We came together in a similar fashion and we just shot the idea around after talking about how hard it is to wait for opportunities. So we were like, you know what, we need to use all three of our influences together and create a company where we could pitch projects to major production outlets and different media companies. So we started that. COVID actually slowed down a couple ideas that we had, but in 2022 we're picking back up the steam and reigniting certain meetings that we had last year.
Uh, what about, I know you have a degree in journalism. So
Yeah,
I'm wondering what was that transition? Why did you transition from journalism into acting?
it's actually a very similar industry, believe it or not. The reason I didn't go into acting right out of college was because I thought acting was a very unrealistic career path. But in all reality, journalism is very similar. I've had to audition for journalism jobs, such as hosting positions that I've had or didn't get. So when I was hosting this AOL sports show called 2 Point Lead, we worked with myself and a few other comedy writers. We worked together to create sketches for athletes to participate in when they would come in for an interview. So like I would interview Reggie Miller or somebody, and then we would say, "Hey, Reggie, by the way, we wrote a skit that we want you to act in." And that pretty much reminded me of how fun acting could be when I was in college. And that was when the bug kind of started again. That was back in 2015. And eventually, after working at a few different corporate entities, ranging from Yahoo Sports to ESPN, I decided to just use my cell phone and write my own sketches and put them on Instagram. And one of those happened to go viral. And I was pretty much doing both jobs at the same time. And the day that I realized I wanted to fully transition was back in 2018 when I was filming David Makes Man. I was supposed to get off work at 1 p.m. on a Friday and drive down to Miami to go to Art Basel from Orlando. And I ended up working until 11:30 that night. And I was on set for, I think, about 16 and a half or 17 hours. And I realized that I loved where I was at. I couldn't ever imagine being in an office for 17 hours, but
Right.
being on set for that long is just, I loved every minute of it. I was just soaking everything in, spending time with the director on scenes that I wasn't even in, and learning a lot. So that's when I realized that, you know what, while I do love journalism and interviewing people, I also love, being able to perform and having experiences like this, having you ask the questions.
Well, let's dive into what you're acting in currently. Batwoman, you're playing Marquis Jet, Ryan Wilder's estranged brother. And I just rewatched all the episodes over the weekend. I think it's about 5 of them that you're in, and it's kind of a slow burn to where we get to where you are now as the Joker. This show's Joker. So, did you know when you got the role or when you auditioned? Did you know that's where the character was heading?
Yeah, so when I auditioned, I had no clue whatsoever what his arc was. The audition that I did, that was a scene that was not even really in the actual show script, but I put in elements of crazy just because, I don't know, I felt like he was a little unhinged based off of what I read. And I just happened to wear a purple shirt that day for the audition. So when I got the role, obviously I was excited. And 2 days before I left New York to go to Vancouver, Caroline Dries, the showrunner and executive producer, she called me and she was like, "Hey, are you free for a FaceTime?" We get on FaceTime and she's like, "So it's up to you, but do you want to know what Marcus Jet's character arc is?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, let's talk about it." So she's like, "Okay, there's really only a simple way for me to put this. Essentially, you become our version of the Joker." And I was like, "Wait, what?" And my mouth dropped and I'm just like, "How is that even a thing? That's not real." So we spoke about that, and yeah, I found out 2 days before. So obviously, a lot of emotions happened at that moment. I'm thinking about Joaquin Phoenix and Jack Nicholson, Heath Ledger. I rewatched The Dark Knight that
Right.
night.
Is there any? You mentioned a couple of Jokers right there. Is there? And do you emulate or are you channeling any of these guys? You any of their performances for inspiration in your version?
Well, I definitely watched everybody's laugh because I wanted to see how people did theirs. And while I will say it is my very much own version, I felt like it was
Right.
important to make it different, especially because this was the first version of the Joker without face makeup. It's like a completely different person. I feel like Marcus Jet is essentially influenced by, I mean, he was kidnapped by the actual Joker when he was a kid. So he's influenced in his own way. So I wanted to kind of get some influence as well. I feel like Jared Leto's Joker, his style, I tried to work my magic in terms of being able to make Marcus Jet like a style icon. I want him to kind of have like a completely different edge about him, the same way Jared Leto's Joker did. So I would say that's probably the most influence I've gotten from a Joker.
What do you? So I got to assume at this point you're pretty familiar with the Joker. What do
Yeah.
you think his relationship is with Batman, and how's that going to translate to your relationship with Batwoman?
Well, it's interesting because in The Dark Knight, one of my favorite moments kind of felt like a little weird, twisted bromance between the Joker and Bruce Wayne, or Batman, when the Joker was basically saying like, "You don't want to kill me because you can't do this without me, and I don't want to kill you because this is just too much fun." So I feel like they need each other,
Mhm.
and it just so happens that Ryan Wilder is Marcus's sister, so there is a love there. There's like this undertone of a sister and brother love and wanting for each other, but then it's overtoned with all of the evil and chaos. So I feel like at the end of the day, Marcus Jet needs Batwoman the same way that the Joker needs Batman.
Right on. So, to kind of guess this is a little spoilery for anybody that hasn't seen last week's episode, but moving forward, um, you were kind of iced with Batman's Ivy potion. Have we have we seen the last of Marcus Jet? Is he coming back? What can you tell us without revealing too much?
I can definitely tell you that people should not miss any episodes for sure. There's a lot to look forward to. We have let me see, we have 4 more episodes before the season. Well, for season 3. So I would say people have a lot more to look forward to.
Right on. What would you say, if you can comment story-wise, with now that you're revealed to the public, at least in the show plot, you're revealed to the public as the Joker. What is the state of Wayne Enterprises after this?
Wayne Enterprises is still under Marcus Jet. He's still the CEO. Ryan Wilder has still not retained her position there. I believe Wayne Enterprises is in a state of chaos right now, as I mean, everyone could see from episode 8 that weird twisted party was somewhat of a job interview, I guess you could say. So now Marcus Jet, he has a whole new way of doing things, and Wayne Enterprises is pretty much in a state of chaos.
We left episode 8. Right on. Renee Montoya has the buzzer, which she revived Poison Ivy with, but that's the same buzzer that the Joker used on you as a child. That's correct?
Yeah. So the Joy buzzer is what was used on me as a child, and that's going to actually be a main part of the story as the season unfolds. So I would definitely tell people to keep their eye on who has possession of it at what current time as each episode goes on.
And one of them being, when I was a child, many years ago, I used to have to get up early on Saturday mornings to beat my brother to the couch so I could get a good spot in front of the TV to watch the Saturday morning cartoons. But I'd have to get up even earlier than that to beat my parents into the kitchen so I could pour myself a big bowl of sugary goodness. So Nick Creegan, I'd like to know, what was your favorite bowl of Saturday morning cereal and what cartoons did you watch?
Oh man, Saturday mornings were amazing. Well, favorite bowl of cereal would have to be Cinnamon Toast Crunch with cold milk. I didn't like it warm. And always the cereal before the milk. I don't understand how people do the milk first. But
Right.
favorite cartoons, I really loved Ren and Stimpy, Rocko's Modern Life, Doug, Recess, and then, Batman was a huge cartoon for me as a kid. The Batman cartoons that would come on the WB. So being able to, I would have never imagined at that age portraying like one of the most iconic villains ever, who I used to actually really root for. I loved the Joker and his storyline because I just felt like the Batman needed him. It would have been boring without that type of chaos in the city. So those were definitely some of my favorite cartoons.
Yeah, right on. Am I missing anything? Is there anything else we need to know about Marcus Jet before I let you go?
No, I think you covered everything. I mean, I'm just excited for people to keep tuning in, and I love hearing fans' responses. So I just want to thank all the fans, whoever's watching this that has wrote me on Twitter or tweeted back with me. I appreciate it. And yeah, I'm just as excited as everybody else because I'm watching these episodes in real time too. I haven't seen them before they're on TV. So it's pretty cool to watch them and enjoy them with the fans.
Yeah, I want to say you sold me, man. When I first read the description about how you were going to come about to be the Joker, I was a little hesitant of how it was going to play out, but man, you really, you crushing it, man. Really enjoying it. Broken Whip Productions, Balcony in Brooklyn, Batwoman. Is there anything else you want to plug? You want to get out your socials?
Yeah, at Nick Creegan on all socials. That's NickCreegan. Tweet me and I'll tweet you back.
Right on, man. Thanks so much for your time, man. Do me a favor and enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you on the other side.
You too, man. Take it easy, Jimmy. Thank you.
You do. Thanks a lot.